All right, good night, everyone. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. So let's begin. Let's not waste any more time. So, like last week, please remember answer the questions. If you off of your head, if you can. If you cannot, then check the textbook, Google it, try to come up with an answer. Good. So let's begin. Or if you and also if you have any questions at any point in time, please let me know. So we finished question one last week, so today we're going to continue with question two. A. Christopher is contemplating using cloud based storage. To assist Christopher with his decision making, complete column 2 of the table below by stating true or false for each of the statements about cloud based storage made in column 1. So simple true or false. So the first one, users can access their data whether they have access to the internet or not. Is that true or is that false? Does this thing have a poll? Does, does Google Meet have a poll option? Polly. Is Polly poll? Polly. Drive meaningful connection with your team. Polly. What the hell is Polly? Yeah, I'm not seeing any poll option. Yeah, so you guys can type it or tell me. What do you think? True or false? Users can access their data whether they have access to the internet or not. We have one false. Out of seven persons, we have one false, two false, three false, three out of four. The rest saying true, or the rest on the fence. Four false. Good. So the answer is false. Users can access their data whether they have access to the internet or not. That is false. You must have internet connection in order for cloud-based storage to work. Good. Data is stored on multiple computers all over the world. True or false? Data is stored on multiple computers all over the world. We have one true, two true, three true, four, five. Good. That is correct. What do we call that? What do we call this description here? Data being stored on multiple computers all over the world. It starts with R. R E. R E D. It's called redundancy. Redundancy. So redundancy is used. It's basically kind of like backing up your data, like how you have the data on your phone and you back it up to the cloud. But the cloud now is going to have that data in multiple locations, multiple redundant locations. So the data is going to be redundant. It's not a location. The data is going to be redundant in that it's a copy of itself stored on multiple other computers. That's what it's called, redundancy. Good. The third one. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Gmail are all cloud-based storage. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gmail, all use cloud-based storage. I don't know where I saw R. All use. We have one true from Samir. Honestly, the question mark that Trinity puts is correct because honestly, from I don't know what perspective they're asking this question from. Let me try to think about it. This stupid application. Um, Twitter, Instagram, Gmail. But more than likely, the answer will be true. All news. But let me confirm. Yes, the answer is true. Um, I'm assuming Christopher is contemplating, so we could assume that it's from the user perspective. So you, the user perspective. So obviously, when you post something on Facebook, when you post something on Twitter, Instagram, when you send a attachment in a file in Gmail, it's all going to be stored in the cloud. So it's not going to be stored locally in your computer or anything of the sort. It's going to be uploaded to the cloud, which is basically a Facebook server, Twitter server, Instagram server, so that they can stay on their cloud service, so that it can stay on their platform, basically. Any questions from anybody? All right. Next one, users know exactly where their data is stored. Users know exactly where their data is stored. We have one false, we have two false. Come on, y'all try something. Another false. Yes, so the correct answer is false. Users know exactly where the data is stored. That is false. Guys, think about it from your perspective. You have data stored in your Google Drive, in your OneDrive, in your iCloud, but do you know where that data is actually located on the internet? No. Next. The cloud is an unlimited and powerful remote network of interconnected computers. cloud is an unlimited and powerful remote network of interconnected computers. Come on, yeah, try something. You got reason on it. Look at the descriptive words they are using. Are those descriptive words correct? We have one true. All right, let me break down the question. Is the internet unlimited? Is the cloud unlimited? Hope you guys know what unlimited means. Is the cloud unlimited? Is cloud storage unlimited? This should be a simple question. A heart. The heart doesn't answer the question. Ethan says no. Trinity says no. That is correct. The internet, cloud storage, is not unlimited. There's a limit because it's an actual physical company. So just say, for instance, this is the company, and the company will set up so much data. Just saying, for example, 20 petabyte of data. That's supposed to be PB. 20 petabytes of data. Now they have to distribute this now to everybody. So cloud storage is not unlimited. So just by having one false, it makes the whole statement false. So that can help you when you're doing true and false questions. You might have multiple points in the statement, and just having one false point, one false statement, makes the entire statement false, even if this one here is true, because this one here is actually true. Cloud storage, the internet, it is a powerful network because it allows us to do a lot of things, but it is not unlimited. So that one false there is going to give us an overall false. Good. And the last one, cloud-based storage providers give free storage up to a certain limits. You're supposed to know this one right off your head. True. Right. Cloud-based storage providers give free storage up to a certain limit. So the how much does Google Drive give? 15 gigabytes. Good. How much does iCloud give? 5? Wow. That's a letdown. That's traumatic. What are you doing with 5 gigabytes? Because out of that 15, we could use it for our Google Photos. So imagine how much more better. And then, yeah, I got the audacity to say iPhone is better. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Yeah, so this information is on page 23 of the textbook, cloud storage. There's not that much information on it. So Yeah. But these questions here cover majority of what you need to know. B. Any questions from anybody though? All right. B. Outline the main difference between system software and application software. What is the main difference? This is chapter 1 point something. We have a whole 2 chapters on this topic. Plus, it's in chapter 1.1. System software is in 1.6. Application software is 1.8. And then you have a summary of it in 1.1. What is the difference? The main difference. How would you describe the main difference between system software and application software?
The system software controls and manages the hardware components, while the application software is designed to help the users perform like specific tasks or
All,
activities,
all right,
like
good,
how to get the word processor, the spreadsheets, and all.
good, good. That's a good difference. So system software controls hardware. Does system software only control hardware? Right? Good. So that's one difference there. We use system software to control hardware, to tell the hardware what to do, and even some other software. So basically, system software controls application software. It tells the application software how to operate. Whereas the application software helps you to carry out a specific task. As Stephanie mentioned, a word processor, an Excel, and so on. What are examples of system software? Or what are the 2 types of system software? We have operating system, good, that's one type. What's the other? And utility software, good. What's an example of a, and how can we categorize operating system? Can we further branch off with 2 categories to operating system? Anybody remember? For OS, so system software, we could branch off with operating system and utility. How can we branch off OS? For OS, we have desktop and mobile OS. So we can branch off with those 2. There could be more, but we're going to focus on those 2. What are some examples of desktop operating system? Examples:
Windows,
Windows. Full name, full name. We need full name.
Microsoft,
Microsoft Windows, or and then specifically which number. So please ensure you write the full name whenever you're asked to give an example of something. You don't just say Windows, you don't just say Apple. You have to write the full name. So it's Microsoft Windows and then whatever specific version. What are the versions of Windows?
7,
You have 7,
10,
10, what else?
or 8 or 9.
8, we don't have 9, 11, before 7. What was before 7? Vista,
6.
before Vista,
6. Oh,
XP. Very good. So for Microsoft Windows, we have XP, Vista, 7. Then came after 7 was 8, then 8.1, then 10, then 11. Um, Mac OS, but is it just Mac OS? Something before the Mac OS. Who's responsible for Mac OS? Apple. Good. Apple Mac OS. Good. Linux is standalone, so Linux will work. Good. Examples of mobile OS. Mobile operating system. Android, Google Android, Apple iOS. Good. Remember, it's Google Android and Apple iOS. It's common I with a capital OS. Good. Examples of utility software. Examples of utility software. Mouse. We talking about software, Amelino. Antivirus. Good. An antivirus is an example of utility software. What are some examples of antivirus? Good. McAfee. What else? What else do we have?
Microsoft Defender.
Microsoft Defender, Norton Antivirus, AVG, Avast. Good. Another example of utility software. Other examples of utility software. Other examples of utility software. File compression, yes. WinZip, good.
Recovery toolboxes.
Good. But some common ones. Antivirus is one. File compression. So we have WinZip, WinRAR. But some other utility common good. Recovery software. Very good.
File management.
File management. So recovery software for when you maybe accidentally deleted a file, you can recover deleted files. Good. And another common one is backup. Backup software. So that you can back up your files for when you accidentally or deliberately delete your files. Good. This defragmenter. Good. Very good. So remember utility. What's the purpose of a utility software in general? What's the purpose of a utility software? What's its goal? What is its aim? To protect the system software. Good. to protect it, to maintain it, to help it out, basically. So the utility software supports the operating system. Well, not the system software, the operating system. So, because OS and utility are simply types of system software. So, the next software now, application software, chapter 1.6 or 1.8. What are the types of application software? Types of application software. Now that's example types. What are the types? We have 4 of them. Now that's example of this application software once again. We have 4 classifications of application software.
Graphic design.
Graphic design. Yes, that's another set of category of types of software. But I'm looking at that category as yet. There's one of them that has 4 types of application software, 4 specific types. We can group them. We can classify application software under these 4 categories. Chapter 1.8. General purpose, integrated, good. That's what I'm looking for. So the 4 are general purpose software. That's one. Then you have customized software, you have custom written software, and then we have specialized software. Anybody remember them? Anybody want to describe any one of them for me? Whichever one you remember. Or if you want to try to describe them now. What's the difference between these 4 categories here? General purpose, customized, custom written, specialized. What is a general purpose software? What is a customized software? What is a custom written software? What is a specialized software? Any one of them.
So the customized software is basically the same thing as a general purpose software, but it's been like modified to only do these certain things for a user.
Good. Can you think of an example? Just a quick example.
Like engineers would use AutoCAD. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I can remember.
All right. All right. All right. Good try. You going again?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Specialized software is like customized software, but more specific, and it's only for like this one thing alone.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Anybody else? Mm. All right, let's not waste time. So, as Ethan mentioned, all right, let me start with general purpose software. Now, general purpose software, as the name implies, it's for the general public to use. So, anyone and anybody is allowed to use it. There is no restriction Doesn't matter who you are, a student, an employee, a child, anybody, you're allowed to use a general purpose software. It's built for anyone. Custom written software is developed for organization need or individual need. Yes, that is correct. So going back to general purpose, so like Microsoft Word, Paint, um, uh, Google Chrome browser, those are made for everyone. You're allowed to use it, doesn't matter who you are. Now, a customized software, notice customize, is when you take the general purpose and you modify it. So, for example, maybe a company who uses Microsoft Word Microsoft Word doesn't have a feature that they particularly want. So what they're going to do, they're going to hire somebody, or maybe they might even tell Microsoft that, look, I want you to modify Microsoft Word, customize it for us so that it can carry out this function. They might pay them a bit extra so that they can get this additional functionality. So this customized software modifies the general purpose and is going to be specific to this organization or this business and so on. Now, a custom written, that's a software that's basically developed from scratch. As Priyanka mentioned, an organization might want a software to do something specific, or an individual might want a software to do something specific once again. So, custom written, they write the software on their own, or they hire somebody to develop the software to carry out that particular task. Now, specialized software is a software that is used for a specific task. It might sound a bit similar to custom written, but it kind of is. But it's just that specialized software refers to software that does something specific, like maybe a camera app. A camera app only takes photos. It doesn't allow you to browse the internet, play music, and so on. It's for that specific task. So specialized software could be a custom written software, if you think about it. Maybe the company, they want an application to scan maybe barcodes, and something happens when they scan this barcode. So that's the custom written software. And it's also specialized because it's doing something specific, one particular task basically. So are we clear on the difference between the four categories of software? Any questions from anybody?
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Now, as I think it was Stephanie, somebody, yeah, Stephanie. There is another category of application software. So, types. Give me a second. Types of application software. So, application software can also be grouped into these following types. So, this is one category as to how we can group application software. These four here: general purpose, customized, custom written, specialized. And then we can also group them by means of these types here. So, application software, one type is the web browser application software. And you guys know the examples, Google Chrome, Firefox. Then we have the word processor. This is supposed to be word processor, not Microsoft Word. Let me get an accurate chart for you guys. Yeah. So this here is more accurate. So number one, you have word processing software, software that allows you to process words. So Microsoft Word, WordPad, Notepad. You have presentation software, Microsoft PowerPoint, Google Sheets. You have web browser software. You have spreadsheet software. multimedia, educational, graphic, shareware, communication, simulation, open source, closed source. And there's actually more. It's not limited to these 12 here. Um, but you can do some research on it if you want. I'm going to send you this picture. Good. So that's the other types of application software there. So let's go to the next question. You can look at the question, try to answer it while I send you the picture. Now, state one example of a hardware device with a user interface. One example of a hardware device with a user interface. We have a whole chapter on user interface. If you can't remember it, check it out or Google what is a user interface. A smartphone. Very good, that is correct. So you have one smartphone. Any other examples? Well, why would you consider that a hardware device with a user interface, Priyanka? How would you justify your answer? Or can anybody help her justify her answer?
Uh, Sir, because it's a physical object
Because it's a digital object?
that you can hold and like interact with it. I don't know.
Right, right. You can interact with it. Good, that's correct. Smartwatch is correct. Yes, Ethan?
Nothing. No water.
Nothing. Um, where is it?
Oh, a
All right.
remote control.
Remote control. A remote control. Yes, that's correct.
A laptop.
A what?
A laptop.
A laptop. Hardware device for the user. Yes, yes, that's correct. Good. We're getting somewhere. We have a lot of devices there now. But how are we justifying these here now? How can we confirm that these are correct? Chapter 1.9 deals with user interfaces. What are the two types, or before we get to that, what is a user interface? What is a user interface? Chapter 1.9. What is a user interface?
It allows the user to interact with the device.
Very good. That's simple. It allows you to interact with something. Let's keep it there. Now, what are the types of user interfaces? What are the types of user?
Graphical.
What was that?
Graphical.
Graphical? No. Um,
Com-
yeah. Graphical is one, but I'm looking for the two main categories first. There's actually two main categories first. But graphical is one,
Command line is one.
command line is one, but it falls under the category. There's two categories of user interface.
Hardware and software.
Yes, hardware and software. So there's first the hardware, and then there's the software interface. So we know that hardware refers to what? simple question.
Sir, the physical parts of the computer.
Very good. Hardware refers to the physical parts of the computer. So if we group everything together now, if the user interface allows you to interact with something, and hardware refers to something that's physical, then simply hardware user interface is something physical that allows you to interact with a system. So we have, for instance, the remote control. Like maybe, for instance, for a game console, PS5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, they have remote controls. So that is something that allows you to interact with the game, with the console, and those buttons is the user interface. It's physical. Any other examples of hardware user interface? Something physical that allows you to interact with a computer, with a system. A mouse, very good.
A display screen?
A display screen, do you mean the a touch screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a touch screen, keyboard, camera. Is it a sensor kind of camera? Because we can't just say camera alone. It got to be a camera that is sensing something, so that you can maybe pick up some sort of movement and do something for you to interact with the computer. But yeah, good. So those are physical. Those are hardware user interfaces examples there. So you have your TV remote, your car alarm remote. Those are all physical hardware devices allowing you to interact with something. Good. So now we're at the software interfaces, and this is where the three types will come up. So you have your command line interface, you have your menu-driven interface, and then you have your graphical user interface. How would you differentiate between the three? What's the difference between the three? Or pick one and tell me about it. How does it operate? Command line, menu driven, how would you describe any one of them? Or what's the difference? Any question you want to answer? Yes, Africa.
Sir, I'm gonna use GUI, graphical user interface.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically uses images and incorporation of images and symbols as a way of, I don't want to say communication, but rather to help the user on using the interface. So it's graphically based,
All right.
which
There's an acronym that can actually help you with your description. Anybody know the acronym? It's an acronym that is used with GUI to describe what makes up the GUI, what makes up the graphical user interface.
WIMP?
WIMP. Very good. That's called WIMP. What does WIMP stand for?
Windows, icons, menus, and pointers.
Right. So a graphical user interface is made up of those four components. It's made up of windows. What's a window? What is a window? How would you describe it? Or put it in your own words. What is a window? What's the shape of a window?
rectangular,
Rectangular, square.
Some of them are square too.
Yeah, so either one. So a window, if you notice, everything on your computer opens in a rectangular or a square format. Basically, let's just say the word box. So everything opens kind of like in a box kind of formats. You see in 4 edges there. So that is what we call the window. That's simple. Now, icon, I, icon refers to all of these little pictures that you see in everywhere. Those are your icons. Menu, almost anything you click on, there's a list of menus. There's a list of options. So menus are almost everywhere. And then lastly, you have a pointer. Your pointer is what you use to interact with the system. That's how I can draw right now on the screen and do all sorts of things. Good. Now, what about the rest? Menu driven, command line. What are they? How do they function? How do you use a command line interface? How do you use a menu driven interface? Graphical user interface uses WIMP. What does menu and command line use? Is it a memory that's showing on my computer? Or is it a CPU? Come on, we don't have whole night. Nobody? So simply, command line, as the name implies, uses commands. You have to learn specific commands. When we say commands, you type in keywords, you type in words specifically that tell the computer what to do. For instance, you might type a command like, for instance, dir to carry out a particular function. So command prompt, as a refresher, the command prompt is an example of a command line interface. Mixing up the terms here. The command prompt, let me clarify myself. The command prompt, this application here, is an example of a command line interface. All you're seeing is text, and you use the interface by typing in commands. That's simple. And a menu-driven interface is simply an interface that gives you menu options. So the most common example, when you go to a fast food place, fast food computer screen, when you go to a fast food place, and if any of you have ever looked at their computer, you will notice, I didn't type fast food. You would notice their screen having a list of items on it, and the person would be clicking on the items. It's basically a menu that we have in order to operate the computer. Finding this image is always be very difficult. Fast food. Menu screen. Yeah, something like this here. Something like this. Something might see it in supermarkets also. You might have a picture with the item name and of the item and the person who tap in the screen. This is an example of a menu-driven interface. An ATM, if any of you have ever used an ATM or went with your parents when they used an ATM, that's another example also. Good. Where are we? Next question. Any questions from anybody though? Are we going too
No,
fast?
sir.
Or are we going too slow? D. 4 basic tasks are carried out by the hardware components of a computer system. State the name given to the sequence of events that represent these tasks. 4 basic tasks are carried out by the hardware components of a computer system. State the name given to the sequence of events that represent these tasks. First thing you should have learned in IT. Right, the IPOS cycle, which stands for
Input, processing, output, storage.
input, process, output, and storage. So in this case, you would want to actually write it out, just in case to prove to them that you know what IPOS stand for. And then maybe in bracket you put, excuse me, IPOS. Good. E. Classify each of the following data entry devices as either manual data entry or direct. So input devices can be classified into 2 types. They are manual data entry and direct data entry. Which of the following is either?
Mouse is manual. The other one is direct.
Manual. Direct.
All right. What is the difference between manual and direct? This is chapter 1.2. What is the difference between manual and direct?
With manual, you have to physically enter it, and with direct, it's automatically entered.
Right. That's the difference here. With manual, as you said, you have to physically enter the data, and direct, the data is automatically entered. But you also want to add, not only is it automatically entered, but it automatically enters a group of data. It's not like if it entering one small piece of data automatically. It's a collection of data that it would automatically transfer. So for instance, the mouse, you have to physically move it, manual. What does the optical character reader do? What does it function? What is its purpose? Why would a person use the OCR? Why would a person use an OCR? What what is the purpose of an OCR? To detect text or symbols like how it's used? No. You're mixing up the two. That's 2 devices you're mixing up there. You're mixing up the OCR and the OMR.
It could convert paper base to like digital one. So scan it and convert to digital one.
Right, right. So allows computer to recognize and extract text from images or scanned documents. Good, good. So a person would use an OCR when they want to scan a document and to be able to edit that document afterwards, after they would have scanned that document. So a normal document scanner, as you guys would know, When you scan a document with a normal document scanner, it scans as either an image or a PDF. That means you can't edit it right after. You have to maybe go and convert it or do something fancy. But an OCR is built for allowing you to edit the document right after scanning. So it's more useful, especially for handwritten documents. So, for instance, the CEO would have written a document, and the clerk now has to now go and maybe continue this document or type it up professionally so she can scan it with the OCR and make her necessary edits. A light pen. Anybody know? Yes,
What about
Stephanie.
translation?
What about translation?
Yeah, with optical character reader, it could like extract the text and then translate it to another language.
Yeah, that's also possible. Because yeah, the software could do that too. Yeah. Because remember, if like say for instance you would have written something like this here, then it's gonna try to figure out what's the letter, convert it to the digital counterpart. So maybe that's C, and that's H. So it's gonna convert it to the font for that. So if you tell it to translate that, it's also possible. Yes. What is a light pen? What
So
is
it's primarily it's sorry, an input device that's primarily used in drawing, and its purpose is for um drawing with precision.
um? Are you sure about that, or are you just guessing? Africa?
No, like seriously.
No, I
Yes,
I'm
sir.
serious. I'm
No.
serious also. Are you guessing or are you telling me correctly?
No, I've seen it being used before,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the answer I would give.
All right. So I'm not 100% sure as to what you may or may not have seen. Maybe it's correct, but what I know a light pen is, um, I'm pretty sure you are referring to a stylus because a light pen is actually used before the mouse was invented. So, not any of these here. Um, it was just showing up. Where is it? This here. Light pen, computer.
The light pen is the one that detects the light from the screen.
Right. So, I'm looking for the one, something like this here. So, if you notice, this computer here, it doesn't really have a mouse. So, the pen actually functioned as the pointer. So, the pen, it's basically like you're using a stylus. The pen now no will allow you to navigate on the computer basically. So kind of like if you're using a stylus, but it's just that yeah, it's kind of like if you're using a stylus, but basically it shines a light. The screen would detect that light as the movement, but it was mainly used at that point in time. I don't know if it's still used today. Let me try. I never checked that out. Is the light pen still in use? Um, the light pen was once significant, but its use has decreased over time. Da, 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 da. Yeah, the it's I don't. It may still be used by some like unique devices, some specialized devices, but it's not something common. What we use today is called a stylus. I don't know what these are here. These look like a pen with a literal light at the end of it. not the actual light pen that they are referring to here. The actual light pen that we're talking about is where's the image? Is like what I just showed you there. That woman, she actually using the pen to point with to navigate on the screen, like if you're actually using a stylus. Good. What's the purpose of a sensor? What is the purpose of a sensor?
Third detects biometrics.
Only?
Well, that's one of them.
Right. So what is a sensor? Because we have different types of sensors, as we just mentioned. How would we describe sensor?
So I'd say it basically detects movement.
Only movement?
That's what I've got, sir.
Or can we say a sensor is used for detecting data, collecting data, retrieving data, automatically collecting data? Would that work?
Well, yeah, that sounds better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have different types of sensors that can be used. Sensors for detecting movement, sensors for detecting temperature, sensors detecting light. So a sensor in general is used for collecting, detecting, retrieving data automatically. Good. Any questions from anybody? Eating like you're sleeping.
No, 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 no.
F. Using a word processor, a graphic artist designed the following flyer to email to potential clients. He or she also plans to distribute hard copies for advertisement purposes. So you have a flyer, townhouses for rent for George Hill residence, blah, 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 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 800 EC per month, semi-furnished, available March 1st, 2020. We have time period there. We have some information over here, private and centrally located. More information there, some pictures there. Good. Now we have some question. State the name of the feature used to create a connection between the flyer and the company's website. State the name of the feature used to create a connection between the flyer and the company's website. Let me see who can figure this one out. I don't want to give away any hints yet. Do, 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 do. State the name of the feature, a hyperlink. Very good. That is the correct answer. Anybody was thinking hyperlink? So the feature used to create a connection between the flyer, remember this is the flyer here, the question is related to this flyer, and the company's website. Where's the company's website? Here. So if you notice, the company's website is in blue and underlined. That's how we know something is a hyperlink, when it is blue and it is underlined. Good. 2. The connection between the flyer and the company's website is to be tested before the flyer is distributed. State the reason for having to do this test. Why do we need to test this link here?
To make
So
sure
to
it
make
takes
sure that the link,
web page.
Yes, Stephanie?
To make sure it takes you to the right web page.
Good. That's one reason. Ensure it takes you to the correct web page. Anybody else?
I was gonna say the same things are basically making sure that the web page's link is not faulty.
No, but that's another reason. So that's not the same thing. So, but we got different ways of describing it. So we can say ensure um, to ensure the link is not broken, because maybe the link is not working at all. So we got to ensure the link is not broken. Maybe the link is working, but it's taking you to a wrong page. So we got to ensure it's taking us to the correct page. Um, to ensure it was typed correctly. Those are just some reasons there. Good. Any questions in this one here? Ensure accurate information. Yeah. Good. Next, 3. Identify 2 text formatting features used in the design of the first column on the flyer on page 10. Identify 2 text formatting features used in the design of the first column of the flyer.
All caps.
All caps. I don't think that's a
Names New Roman?
center is one. Center is one. We're looking at text formatting feature, formatting the text. So center is one. Um, the font color, yes. We'll work with center alignment and font color. I wouldn't choose font. Font is correct, but obviously I don't know if you guys can pick up if it is Times New Roman or not. But if you can't figure it out, don't go for it. But somebody's gonna say something.
Oh, sir, is the CSEC paper colored?
Well, if you're seeing color there,
Or
then
is it black and white?
you didn't see color.
No. Oh, I mean like the actual paper that they're gonna give us.
This is the actual paper.
I know, but I was just wondering because I know it's like black and white.
Center
Okay.
alignment and font color. I don't know if it is still get color questions, but obviously it gotta be in color for certain things to be answered here. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Good. Identify 2-page formatting features used in the design of the flyer. 2-page formatting features used in the design of the flyer. So this is word processing, chapter 5 of the textbook.
For the third part, right? I know we can't figure out the line spacing, but that could be a formatting feature too.
Let me see. Identify 2 formatting features used in the design of the flyer. Line spacing. I don't think the line spacing changed. It still looks like
No, I
1.8.
asked it, does the formatting feature to line spacing.
It should be. It is a page for is line space and page formatting. Let me confirm. I think it is. Anybody can confirm? Orientation like portrait. Um, portrait orientation. Uh, yes. Line spacing, portrait. Hold on. Let me confirm. Because there's a difference between there's a difference. It's stupid computer moving slow. There's a difference between page formatting and then you have, my god, and then you have other formatting options. Where is that information? Um, so this is page formatting features. All right, let me Google it. Examples of page formatting features. Because there's a specific one that I notice that I know should be correct. Because page formatting feature is going to be how you format the page. So technically, orientation should be correct, line spacing, and that's formatting the page. Anything else you notice? There's a specific one I want you to pull from it.
Columns.
Columns, yes, that is it, columns. So there's actually a 2-column document here. So that is one, columns, and identify 2 formatting, page formatting features. So you have columns, and we can go with orientation, line spacing, but I don't know if those are page formatting. An example of formatting would include whether the page is double space, single space, whether the page numbers are located, and whether they cover page or not. Yeah. So it kind of does relate to the page. Yeah. So we can work with these 3 here. But anything else we noticed though? Page formatting. Not noticing anything else. We have,
Sir,
yeah.
did you guys look at the layout, like if it's landscape or
It looks portrait.
portrait?
Yeah, we mentioned orientation. So it looks portrait. Or is that landscape? No, it looks portrait, man. The document it's in is literally portrait, so that should tell us. And when you're doing flyers, do you do landscape flyers?
Yeah, and then sometimes it is do the 3 column, so you could fold it.
That is true, you know. But from this here, I don't know if we can actually tell if it's portrait or landscape. Yeah, margin is actually one too. And that's formatting the page. But obviously we can't tell margin from this here. Um, yeah, so some of these things a bit we can't tell, but obviously we can tell it has columns. And let me see what else we can pull. Is table a formatting feature? Formatting the page is table one. Is table a page formatting feature? What are the Okay, good. So page table is not one. So hmm. So what is gonna be orientation, line spacing? All right. Well, you guys have examples, so you'll figure it out if that question ever comes across. We include margin also. Good. Now, the graphic artist would like to amend the Word document he created in order to produce a new flyer, but would still keep a copy of the original document. Describe how he would create the updated document. I don't know what some of y'all might be thinking, and it's not that. The graphic artist would like to amend. So he wants to add something to the Word document he created in order to produce a new flyer, but he still wants to keep the original. How would he create an updated document? I guess technically you could describe it that way. Yeah, you tell me how you are going about this.
Edit the document into the new one and then use the save as option.
Right, right. That is the correct method. So so basically, Ramit says to you got to be careful with these kind of questions. Notice the mark, and notice it says describe how you would create the updated document. So you need to be a bit clear on the necessary steps. Not don't be too descriptive, but be specific with the steps. Um, Open the document, um, add the changes, um, click on File, select Save As, and then select a new name, location, and is what is B. And click OK. I think it's OK. Yeah. So that's one method. If you notice, there's quite a few steps. Once again, this is where practicing comes into play. Now, there's actually another method. The method that you guys use. What is that? Copy and paste. Yes, literally copy and paste. So you right click on the documents. So remember to describe the steps. Because technically, that is a correct answer. But the better answer is the save as option. Good. What is this? 6. Name one word processing feature that would allow you to protect your document while you're working on it, and one feature that could protect the final document. So protecting it as you're working on it. There's two things you list in here. Notice 2 marks. Protecting it as you're working on it, and you're protecting it as autosave. Nope, not autosave. I'll give you guys a hint. Restrict editing. Very good. Yes. Um, but I don't think that's the correct one. Password encrypted. No, those. Protect your the password encrypted. That one might work for while you're working on the document. So every time you go into the document, you type in your password, and you work on the document. So if whenever you close it, nobody can go in. So password encrypted is going to work for while you're working on the document. But how can you protect the final document? Restrict editing doesn't read only. Read only can work. Restrict editing won't work because the person would still have the option to enable editing. That's what you always see at the top in a yellow box, in a yellow bar, digital signature. I don't think that's gonna work because that's kind of like password encrypted. Password encrypted and digital signature. It's for you to get into the documents. So it's kind of like if you got to give the person those credentials to get in. So read only,
Permission?
permission. Let me see what's the options. So file, info. Good. So there is the protection options. So we have always open read only, prevent accidental changes by asking the reader to opt in to editing. No, that's not gonna work. Read only is not gonna work. Password protected, as I mentioned, this is gonna work for you while you're working on the document to prevent anybody from going in. If you notice the read only, the person can opt in to editing. So they can still, it's kind of like a temporary restriction. It's not like a full restriction, but just preventing them to make any accidental changes. Restrict editing, kind of like the read only, but once again, as I mentioned, they could still enable editing. Um, control the type of changes others can make. No, actually, yeah, restrict editing. Yeah, you were correct. It seems you can allow only the document everyone limited. No, this is says only formatting, but I think yeah, you can restrict what it can. What is it? Format. If it says only format, it means they can still type stuff. Yeah, this should
Restricting access is the one that you can't make edit to.
right. So grant people access while removing the ability to edit. Good. So this is the more one because this here is kind of like restrict editing. It's kind of like you don't want to give them certain privileges, but they can still do something on it. So restrict access is going to be the one you can use for them to not make any changes. And the one I was thinking more of is mark as final. It lets users know that this is the final document and so not to make any changes or not and so on. Good. So those are the answers there. So it's what and what. So for this one, so for working, we have what is it? Was restrict. Yeah, we can do encrypted password to allow you to protect your documents while you're working. So that's password, and then final. We have mark as final, and then restrict editing. Good. All right. I think that brings us to the end for question 2. Good. Next one is question 3. So 9:30. I guess we can stop here for today. And next week you're going to pick up from question 3. So when we wrap up all of these questions here, we're going to move over to paper ones, run through them a bit faster than these paper twos here. Any questions before we wrap up? All right.
No, sir.
If no questions, that's it for tonight. Enjoy your night.
Bye bye, sir.
Yes, goodbye.